Ladies and gentlemen, it's titoclock. So please welcome your host, James Deacon.
That's me, right? Yeah, that's me. What up, everybody? Welcome to the show. It's titoclock, and I'm Tita James. Behind me is Tita X over there. We got Y and Z over there in the background on the other side of the interwebs, wherever they might be. I don't know exactly, but we're here until 6 p.m. tonight, and we've got a big show for you tonight. Actually, we got a super cool one because, one, it's Friday, so there's always reason to celebrate, but there's also things that we're going to learn today that, you know what, we are learning from somebody really incredible. I'm super excited about our guest because it's such an exciting, very intimidating space with so many opportunities, and we need somebody to guide us through. So my guest later on the show, Luis Buenaventura, is going to be walking us through the space of NFTs, which, if you haven't heard about that, it's about time you do. You don't want to get left behind in the conversation. It is a very, I don't know if you'd call it a craze, but a lot of people are saying that this is really the way of the future for digital ownership of anything. I don't want to jump ahead. I'm going to royally screw it up if I try, so I'll let Luis explain it. Plus, we got Free Plug Friday, all the latest in headlines, and, of course, the best thing of all, you guys. We get to spend time with you for the rest of the hour. Let me just get my background music going on there. Okay, that's not happening. That's in the wrong. Let me just make sure the Bluetooth is on, and we are okay. All right, now we can practically. How's that? Good? Nope. Bad? Nope. No, it doesn't work. Sorry, guys. Now there. It picked up. Look at all these pineapple. Look at all the pineapple brigade over here. I had no idea that. No. Actually, I did have a little bit of an idea, but not this much of an idea how crazy the pineapple brigade would go. I honestly thought it was more towards no pineapple. It seems pineapple is winning. Wow, really, what a surprise for me. What have you been surprised by the results? That pineapple pizza, it doesn't even have to have pineapples. Right? We're giving away the oven. So whether you put it or not, doesn't matter. I just wanted to find out what the whole mood of pineapple or no pineapple was. And boy, did I get an answer. So I can't wait for one of you guys to win that. I really hope it's a regular titoclocker. I really hope so. So stick around. We'll be doing that in a little while. But in the meantime, let's all just get on the same page by finding out what's the latest in headlines. And for that, we need Chris. Chris, what you got for us there, Chris?
Yes, good afternoon, Tita James. It's a no pineapple for me. Happy Friday, my fellow Tito Clockers. This is Chris for your Tito Clock News. President Benigno S. Aquino III is in the Ateneo de Manila University, or ADMU, this Friday, where a public viewing of his cremated remains is being held from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. at ADMU's Church of the Jesuit. According to ADMU, the public will be allowed to walk in front of the urn to pay respects and say a prayer for Pinoy for a few seconds. Temperature checks will be conducted, and visitors will be required to wear face masks and face shields at all times and asked to fill out contact tracing forms prior to entering the church. The former president's remains were first brought to the Heritage Memorial Park in Taguig City from the Capital Medical Center in Quezon City. Aquino died in his sleep on Thursday morning with renal disease secondary to diabetes as cause of death at the age of 61. Aquino's remains will be buried alongside his parents' burial place at the Manila Memorial Park on Saturday, June 26. The National Task Force Against COVID-19, or NTF, has added 10 more cities that would get a bigger share of vaccines in the coming weeks. These are the cities of Bacolod, Iloilo, Cagayan de Oro, Baguio, Zamboanga, Dumaguete, Tugigaraw, General Santos, Naga, and Legazpi. Collectively called the Plus 10 area, these cities would get more doses, just as the original priority group of Metro Manila, Cavite, Laguna, Pampanga, Batangas, Rizal, Bulacan, Metro Davao, and Metro Cebu. Deputy Chief Vince Dizon said on Thursday that the NTF prioritizes the densest areas, key economic drivers, and those experiencing a case surge. According to the Department of Health, the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao and the regions of Caraga, Socsargen, Bicol, and Bimaropa still lack ultra-low freezers and are therefore incapable of getting Pfizer, Moderna, and Sputnik V, but Sinovac and AstraZeneca vaccines are given. The country has administered 9.2 million doses as of June 23 and was about 97% complete in inoculating 1.6 million health workers at least with the first dose. Dr. Guido David of the Octa Research Group said on Thursday that they trust the study made by medical experts who made recommendations to President Rodrigo Duterte on the use of face shields. Duterte said on Monday that the public must continue to wear face shields outdoors and indoors for now. During his weekly address, Duterte recognized the inconvenience of wearing such, but he also emphasized that it was a small price to pay to keep the public safe from the coronavirus. Medical experts have been emphasizing that practicing all health protocols, including the use of face masks and face shields and social distancing, give the best protection aside from getting vaccinated. Following the confusion as the government flip-flopped on its face shield policy, Senate President Vicente Soto III filed a resolution on Wednesday seeking an investigation into the efficacy of face shields. To date, the country's COVID-19 cases have reached 1,378,260, with 51,410 currently ill patients. Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences announced on Thursday that actors Samuel L. Jackson and Danny Glover are among 4 people who will receive honorary Oscars for their contributions to filmmaking and to the world. Academy President David Rubin said that Jackson and Glover are among the next recipients of the Academy's Governor's Awards in a ceremony in January. Other honorees are writer-director Elaine May and Norwegian actress Liv Ullmann. Samuel L. Jackson, who portrayed Nick Fury in the Avengers and other Marvel movies, has appeared in more than 100 films. Danny Glover, star of the Lethal Weapon movies, will receive the Jean Herschel Humanitarian Award for his advocacy for justice and human rights. Glover currently serves as a Goodwill Ambassador for UNICEF. Ullman was nominated for Best Actress for the 1971 film The Emigrants and 1976 movie Face to Face. May received Oscar nominations for Best Adapted Screenplay for 1978's Heaven Can Wait and 1999's Primary Colors. Those were today's headlines. Now let's hear what Tita James have to say about the inbox.
By the
First,
way,
I
big
want to
shout
say
out
something
to
about the face
Joanne.
shields. First, I want to say
Yeah.
something about the face shields. I never
Yeah,
thought
the
I'd see the
face shield.
day where I actually sided with Senator Soto, but
I
today
know, right?
we're friends.
Yes.
No, jokes aside, if he's really going to launch an investigation into the efficacy of face shields, I think
Hmm.
that is a worthwhile endeavor, because I think that, one, whether or not, regardless of how it plays out, right, whether it shows that it was effective or it wasn't effective, we should know. That's something that we should know, because we're forced to wear it. It's imposed on
That's
us.
true.
There's a
That's true.
cost, not just financial costs. There's other costs involved
Hmm.
to your inconvenience, your health, etc. I mean, it's not easy. So
Yes.
that's one we should know. And number two, if it shows that there wasn't a gain and they
Hmm.
impose this, they need to go after whoever made money on those face shields. They need to
Oh,
go.
yes.
That's what I want to see happen, because
I
that's no
know. Me
joke.
too.
The dolphins, the turtles, you know what
Yes.
I'm talking
The
about, right?
sea
It's those
creatures.
guys that are going to get it in the end,
Hmm.
and us. But the poor turtles and
It's the
dolphins and
environment. I
marine
mean,
life.
it's a domino effect, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. No, but accountability. I like where he's going with this, and we don't agree on almost everything, but this time, hats off to you, because please go after that. It's not that I want to be, and I just want people to be held accountable, because we cannot just live in a world right now where people just say things like, "Oh, wow, here's an opportunity to make money. Let's make that mandatory." I'm not saying that
Yeah.
that's it. I'm just saying you haven't proved otherwise.
Yes.
Okay, now that my blood pressure is up a bit, let's go to the inbox.
Let's go to the inbox indeed. First up, we have the watch out for the blind spot. Viewer discretion is advised.
Okay. What we got here? Watch out for the blind spot.
The red car.
Oh. I can see it. I can see it. Like, ay! Oh, no! Wait,
Literally
he didn't
still
stop. He didn't
squealing
slow
here.
down. What's up with that?
No.
Wait. Hey,
Is
someone's
he in a
flirting with
hurry?
X. Chris, look, someone's flirting with X. Did you see the comment?
Oh, I
It's got
didn't.
that. Oh, wait,
Hi.
coming. Wait. All right.
Si Ecto. Eee.
That was bad. That was really
I
bad.
know, it was really bad.
Can we do it again? Can we do it again? This is a teaching moment, all right? We're not trying to
Yes.
laugh or anything like this. This is a teaching moment. Okay,
Yes.
guys. Oh, this is bad. This is bad. Oh, he was face. Oh man, it could have been a lot worse. Okay, the teaching moment here, as Chris mentioned, blind spot. That's the magic word of the day. Blind spot. That truck is so high they cannot. Well, that could have two meanings. No, he's so high, but I'm not judging. I don't know. In this particular case, it looked more like the Vios was not aware of being in the blind spot of the truck. From the outside, it looks like the truck also kind of turned in, but you have to put yourself in the truck driver's position. It's really difficult to see. They have little mirrors and stuff like that, but it's difficult to see. So that's what you call an accident that could have been avoided if you're just aware. It's called spatial awareness.
Yes.
James Deacon is here on titoclock.
What do you mean?
What's happening?
What?
The fake James Deacon is here.
Oh, your fake
All
account is the
That's not cool, dude. Whoever you are, man, that's really not cool.
Okay,
Yeah, can you
guys,
post
please
it up again?
report
Okay,
this.
here.
Report
No,
this
leave it up. Leave it up.
account.
Why? Leave it up. Leave it up because we want to. Let's expose
Greetings.
this, right? Look at this. No tick. All right. So that's ang kapal mo, whoever you are.
No blue
kapal mo.
check, kuya.
And you know
or
what?
Ate.
Here's what you don't know, right? Whoever this person is, right? We already exposed you, right? We already put you out there. If you're trying to get money because of this wallet, you're trying to this person sending money, asking you to send money through their Bitcoin wallet. What this person doesn't know is how transparent the blockchain is. We will find you. It's as simple as that. You won't be able to withdraw that money, even if you got like a peso or 2 pesos. And trust me, this is going to be good. All right. So fake news. This is not me. There's no tick. I don't have bad grammar like this person. And I'm not a scammer. Okay. Now take it off.
All right.
And then
Please
block that
report
person
this.
already. Can you block that person? X, Y,
Block
whatever.
it. Report it, everybody. Let's show the power of the people. Power of the titoclockers.
I'll talk about this a little later on, but I want you to finish. Go on.
All right. Let's go to the second one. It's called And at Last I See the Light. A little Disney there. Let's see the next one.
Somehow I think Chris set this up just so she could sing that song. Ang galing eh. He was like, I need to sing this Disney song. I need an excuse. Give me a video that I can just show my vocal pipes off. But no joke, Chris. You got a good voice.
Thank you.
Gotta say, legit.
Yeah.
So that's nakakasilaw ng ilaw. Is that right? Is that what we're looking at there? Nakakasilaw. This is another super bastos. It's almost as bastos as faking an account and then going onto the person's account who you faked and then commenting like the person's not going to know this. We have a new strain of kamote, the Delta kamote.
Delta kamote. Wala pang bakuna dyan, Tito.
Wala talaga. As Miriam said, it's forever. Stupid is forever.
Yeah, stupid is forever. Buy the book, guys.
Okay, go on. I'll explain why I'm a little bit like this about that fake profile. I'll explain that later in case people are wondering because they normally don't see me react like this. But I just can't stand scammers. I really can't stand scammers.
Nobody does. All right. Let's see
there are
the
a lot
next one. There's a lot. Let's see the next one. It's called blinding. Instead of blinkers, it's blinding.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. And that looks aftermarket too, no? It looks like they've modified it to be like that.
Yes.
All right, nako. Mm.
Bakit pa?
I'm pacing, so I'm trying not to
Pacing,
react. I'm
pacing.
pacing, I'm
Halfway,
pacing.
halfway there, Tito. Halfway
Oh,
there. All right. Next up, we have the no plate, no conduction.
the Delta Plus kamote.
The plus kamote. Indeed.
Delta Plus.
Ayan. There's one. And
Yun
there's
ang mga Delta
two.
Plus.
Yes.
The Wang Wang kamotes. You know, one thing that I'll always well, there are obviously many other things, but I think our former late president Pinoy, I think, doesn't get enough credit for what he did with those people, the Wang
Yes.
Wangs.
Yes.
For however you feel politically about, let's now is obviously not the time,
Mm-hmm.
but I really think that that's something that it sounds kind of basic, but it is the premise of almost everything because it's a microcosm of everything that's wrong in our society. It is the padrino system, it is the palakas system, it is the I don't need to follow rules system. If you start from that, you can never go anywhere from that because your base is already corrupt. Your base is already skewed. It's already unjust. So you're only going to create more division and problems from that. There has to be, the roads are the great equalizer. That's the most democratic space that we share as citizens. So when you behave like that on the road with impunity and you act like you can have some kind of immunity from everything with your hazard lights because you have some kind of government protection, and we see this play out in front of us in vivid Technicolor or 4K, you'll never get the support from the citizenry again after that, because there's a sense of injustice that's already at that ground level. We can never trust anything after that. That's why
True.
don't do that. Next.
Okay. All right. Straight from Tita James's mouth. All right. 2 more to go. We have the how not to dispose your trash. Let's see the photo. And BTS meal pa man din.
Ay!
Grabe. Such
Oh
a
my
shame for the armies.
Is that a video or a picture? Or
Not sure. I just
it
saw
looks
a
like
photo a
toggling
while
between two
ago.
pictures because it's in the act. I mean, okay, let's give the person the benefit of the doubt. What if they're bringing the garbage in?
Baka baliktad pala.
Nakabaliktad pala si X.
Maybe.
Maybe X's toggling is they stopped and they pulled the garbage in. Oh.
Ganun pala.
Hero to.
Ayun.
Baka hero to and just being falsely judged.
I don't think so.
Well, we just like to give the benefit of the doubt to everyone on this show. That's all.
Yes.
Go on.
But please, a gentle reminder to please dispose your trash in the proper trash bin. Last but not the least, it's a photo. X put a ... on the caption, so I call it spotted.
What are we looking at? What am I looking? Spotted.
The guy.
Is he shirtless? Why is he shirtless in pure gold?
I don't know. Maybe it's the heat.
Well, at least he's wearing a face shield.
Yeah, and a face mask, but it's
and the face mask.
on his
So,
head.
as
He
far as
turned it
I
into a
feel
headband.
Walang problema.
Sige na nga, walang problema.
Thanks, Marielle. Always try to play the devil's advocate.
That's true.
Don't be so quick to judge.
Diba?
But it does look like he threw it. But anyway,
Yes.
I'm just saying.
Keep your trash until you find a bin.
All right.
Ayan.
So.
All right. That's all we have, Tito James. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks very much, Chris. You have yourself a great weekend.
Yes, a fabulous weekend to everybody. Avoid kamote, people, but always choose happiness with some sugar rush. Stay safe, healthy, and hydrated. This is Chris. See you guys. Ciao.
Thanks very much. That's Chris with the latest in headlines. And if you like the sound of Chris's voice, singing or speaking, well, you can always just get a hold of her on her IG handle over there. That's how we like to work the show. We like to keep it like a community. So we like to give people, well, we just found Chris as one of our titoclockers. She now became our mainstay newsreader, and she does this freelance. So pop her a message if you think you could use her talents and her skills. All right, so we got so much to get through. I know we have a guest in the backstage, but we'll just get to our Free Plug Friday first. So just chill there, Louise. Grab yourself another bit of, I don't know, bit coffee or whatever you drink, you people. I don't know how it works over there for you guys, but we'll come back right after this with Free Plug Friday. Free Plug Friday, for those of you who have just joined us, is basically our little tiny little small initiative of how we want to kickstart the local economy by helping small businesses who don't have a budget to advertise by giving them a little space here in the show for free. So the only thing you have to be is a smaller type of business. We prefer it's somebody that's pivoted into this, into something new, just trying to survive the pandemic, and we'll take care of the rest. You just pop us a message on IG. If you want to send over something, that's fine. You don't have to. We will still promote you, and it costs you absolutely nothing. But for that, we need X. X! What you got in the box there, X?
Hi, DJs. We actually have a lot of stories again, but before we go there, I just want to say hi to all the titoclockers. Welcome to another edition of Free Plug Friday. Alright, please see your eyes on the screen. DJs, let's start the Free Plug Friday by setting the mood with some scented candles from Lumiere Amour. So Lumiere Amour is a small home business that curates scented candles made of 100% soy wax and premium fragrance oils. So they sent overlooking Lake Brienz, popularly known as French bamboo, and mornings in Provence, also known as the English lavender. Which scent did you like better, Tito Jane?
Wow. Mornings in Provence. Afternoons in Dolomite.
No, that's little Tito Jane.
No, I love. Wait.
Which
Okay.
one did you like more?
I think the mornings in Provence is quite nice, and I'm just snipping it like without being lit, right? So I don't know if it changes when it's lit, but very fresh smells. I like it.
And just a good thing is they also put in the description of each scent. Just look at this, Tito James. Would you like the English lavender? Inspired by the lavender fields during the month of July. It's so poetic. And guys, it's available in 100 grams at 235 pesos that has up to a 15-hour burn time, and 220 grams at 570 pesos that has up to 50 hours of burn time. So hope you can check them together with their other available scents. Again, Lumiere Amour on Facebook, Instagram, and Shopee. Next, we go to Cocker Grill. Cocker Grill offers goodness that goes straight to the heart, Tito James, because actually, Tito James, they offer lechon belly, ayun na, Cebu lechon belly, lechon manok, smoked ribs. And actually, Tito James, little backstory, Cocker Grill started as a small grill house setup in the owner's garage back in 2019. So guys, price starts at 150 pesos for the smoked ribs, 240 pesos for a whole lechon manok, and 500 pesos for 500 grams of lechon belly. Anyways, hope you can check them out. Cocker Grill on Facebook and Instagram. Next, we go to Simply Kimchiji. So Simply Kimchiji is actually a curiosity and passion-based business that began because the owner has been a long-time K-drama fan. So she decided to create kimchi since it's been a staple food in Korea. So she makes sure to source out the freshest ingredients for each jar that she makes, and also make sure that it's prepared with the highest sanitary standards given her background in operations and food handling. Have you tried the ones that they sent over, Tito James?
Not yet, but I am looking forward to that because kimchi goes with. I can even have kimchi on just white rice, hot white rice, and just kimchi.
Or
that's
lettuce.
A meal for me.
Exactly,
Yeah, I
Tito
don't even
James.
need ulam, just that. If it's good kimchi, so I will let you know next week.
Okay, all right. Guys, price is 180 pesos for a 470 gram bottle, 350 pesos for a 1 liter tub, and a 550 pesos for a 2 liter tub. Anyway, guys, hope you check them out. Simply Kimchiji on Facebook and Instagram. Next, we go to the Bath Essences. So the Bath Essences is a local and homegrown bath body and home treats that are natural, that have no preservatives, and are paraben sulfate, and phthalate free. And actually, guys, the reason why this started is because the owner decided to once upon a time give these away for her twin daughter's baptism as a giveaway. And the guests who received them immediately loved it. And of course, they were asking where she got it from, if she purchased it. And of course, the rest was history. So Tito James, they sent in their liquid soap, some bath bombs, and handcrafted soap that come in different scents. I personally love the smell of the vanilla, hazelnut, milk, oat, and honey, and aloe. How about you, Tito James?
It's gotta be beer. Come on, let's go. I mean,
Always
to bathe in beer is every man's dream.
That's true, Tito James. Actually, Tito James, a good one, yeah.
So let's see how it comes out in the shower. Because smell like candles. Sometimes when you smell them without being lit,
It's different.
Yeah, so
exactly.
and even perfumes. That's why you put a perfume on your skin because it reacts different ways.
That's true. That's true. So, guys, price starts at 160 pesos for a bath bomb, 180 pesos for their handcrafted soaps. Hoping you check them out. The Bath Essences on Facebook, Instagram, and Shopee. Last but not least, we go to One Legendary Co. So, One Legendary Co. is a local shirt brand that started since 2016, which is basically a combination of street, urban, casual wear, aesthetic art, and positivity. Positivity. Hear that, Tito James? How did you find their shirt designs, James? Like the one you're wearing now.
Positive.
It's
Very positive.
Very positive to see
Ah,
that.
yeah, I love yours.
Oh,
yeah, I mean,
thanks,
like
James.
here I was like going conservative with the white shirt,
But
with the
here I
little
was.
logo, and then
Here I
saw
go.
your
Boom.
shirt. But I like the back of my shirt.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
really nice.
Yeah, just look at the detail, Tito
Yeah,
James.
I don't know.
Oh,
It feels like streetwear, or
very
something.
much.
It's something
urban
to
wear.
exactly to express yourself somewhere different. And I mean, I've gone to these shops like in the malls for streetwear,
Uh-huh.
outrageously expensive, right? So
Yeah.
like crazy stuff. And you're like, oh my gosh. So this is
It's
what's the
actually-
price point of
Tito
this?
James, the price ranges between 500 to
Okay, that's-
700 pesos per
That's
shirt.
reasonable.
Yes,
So
it
reasonable.
depends on the size. And they have sizes from extra small up to 2XL. Anyway, hope you can check them out. One Legendary Co. on Facebook, Instagram, and Lazada. Well, that's all we have for this week's edition of Free Plug Friday. Stay safe and always sanitize the clockers. This is X. Peace out. Happy weekend. Bye! Woo!
Woo!
Let's see the
Woo!
picture on the
Mom's
back
gonna
of your
win.
shirt.
Oh wait, why aren't you talking, X? And that's Free Plug Friday for you, ladies and gentlemen. Our tiny little contribution to the small businesses around who are trying to pivot and make it work during these very difficult times. You have something, there's the address that you can pop a message to. There is a little bit of a waiting list, unfortunately, but you never know because every now and again, somebody kind of drops out and you could get lucky. So that's all we've got there for Free Plug Friday. I gotta also say that I did try the soap because we do record the Free Plug Friday segments. So I wasn't able to try the soap when I first talked about it, but I tried the soap just today actually, and it was really nice. I tried the beer soap. I mean, like the beer one that I was. And so in the shower, it smells. It's quite intoxicating. Let me just say. All right, so let's move on now with our guest, ladies and gentlemen. Our next guest is a legit guest. Not that we haven't had non-legit guests here. We're not saying that at all, but I'm just saying this guy here is somebody that has, well, he's many steps ahead of most people in the crypto world because a lot of people just got into this whole crypto thing recently. A lot of people this year, a lot of people in May during this last dip. So there's a bit of a frenzy going on at the moment. A lot of people know this because we've had Chris Tan on the show before. We talked a little bit about crypto. That was my first, I guess, exposure into it really online. I learned a lot from that. I've done my own homework. And since then, I've gone down this very, very deep rabbit hole of understanding the financial system, and I've never quite been the same. And that's where I met Luis Buenaventura. We haven't physically met yet. Well, who has in the pandemic, right? Nobody. So we haven't physically met yet, but that doesn't take away anything from the relationship. But I've learned so much from this guy online through his little newsletter, which is not so little anymore, and through his achievements in the space, including becoming the first Filipino NFT artist to ever mint and sell an NFT. If you don't know what NFT is, stick around. We'll explain it, and it could change your life. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome up Luis Buenaventura! Hey,
so
what's up?
much. This
All
is
the
gonna
way
be
from
fun.
sunny La Union. Is it true you're in La Union right now?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. And it is very windy here. The weather is actually kind of perfect. So wonderful time to be talking, for sure.
You know, the life seems kind of perfect, Luis. You know, we're all stuck here in the city, all trapped, and here we are. I look at you as somebody living the dream. You know, you got into crypto a lot earlier than most of us. 2014, is that correct?
Yep, that's right.
All right,
Yep.
so 2014, that's 7 years ago. 7 years in crypto is like what? That's probably
70
in real
years in
time.
human
That's like
years. Yeah, I don't
like
know.
100 years, right? In normal lives,
Yeah.
because we age. Luis is 12 years old. He just looks a little old, but that's because he's been in the space for 7 years.
Yeah, I'm underage. I shouldn't be drinking right now. Yeah.
Yes, I know you enjoy your whiskeys in the afternoon, and this is part of basically, I guess, you enjoying your early investments in crypto. We'll talk a little bit about that, but I want to, of course, at some point end with this new technology NFT. But
Right.
I understand a lot of people are getting into this space. We had Chris. I know you know Chris Tan, right?
Yep.
So
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
friends
yeah.
with Chris.
For sure.
Chris came on the show before when I was just a little. I had barely any knowledge about crypto, and he had our audience mesmerized, right? And they were literally messaging, going, "Don't let him go! Don't let him go! Stop! Keep the conversation." I was saying we had no more time. We have a raffle. And they were saying, "Push the raffle. We don't care. We want to learn," because the way he explained it was hit a lot of people, you know, got them to understand why there's such a craze around crypto. We also say that there's also a lot of danger around crypto. As we've noticed, somebody you saw backstage faking my name, trying to get free Bitcoin and all that kind of jazz.
Yep.
So, with that being the premise, let's first ask you, what's the deal with crypto here in the Philippines? Is it legal? Is it shunned upon? Is it something that they're going to outlaw? Before anyone puts 1 peso down, how safe are they in terms of government eyes?
Well, the first thing I should probably say is that it is very, very legal here, right? So that's not been a question for several years now. When I got back, if in the first year, like 2014, it was a little bit of a gray market, a gray area. You didn't really know if the government was going to outlaw it or regulate it or whatever. But come 2017, the regulations were just written, and now it's very obvious that it is completely a legitimate investment to make. Anyone can buy or sell or trade cryptocurrency in the Philippines as long as you do it with a reputable, licensed provider. And kind of there's a whole list of those companies now. There's about 15 of them actually, believe it or not. So there are quite a few safe places to buy it.
Great. Thanks for clearing that up, Luis. I just wanted to start with that because I guess a lot of people, there's still, I know the answer to it, but I'm trying to imagine there are a lot of people that are so new to the space, and they hear things like money laundering, they hear things like nefarious activities. Why they hear all these bad, what we in the industry call FUD. And I don't want them to walk in thinking that this is some kind of a Ponzi scheme. I'm not saying that, and there's a lot to learn, so definitely just don't go in blind. But it's not illegal. It's not a Ponzi scheme.
Right.
It's a totally legitimate, recognized digital asset that even our local central banks here, is it fair to say that even our central banks have policy on?
Right. For sure. For sure.
Okay, now we can move on. Now I feel completely, totally calm to move on with the rest of it. Cryptocurrency was basically started to address the problem of hyperinflation. Is that a safe way to say the beginnings of Bitcoin?
Yeah, yeah. And I think maybe if you just look at the timing of when Bitcoin was created or launched, it was right during the tail end of the great financial crisis of 2008. So it was kind of a response to the poor monetary policy of that time. Well, actually, it's been poor monetary policy all the way from the 1970s onwards. So, like, Bitcoin was always meant to be a solution for that. Like, why is our money continuing to devalue over time? Like, the pesos that we save in our bank, like, that's what, making 0.5% per annum if you're lucky? That's not gonna get you over inflation. Inflation's 4 or 5%, right? I mean, so why are you being punished for saving money? That's the main problem that Bitcoin was always trying to solve. There's something fundamentally wrong with the way that money has been designed until this point. And Bitcoin is an alternative. It's a grand socioeconomic experiment to try to figure out if there is a different path, if there is a different way for us to address these problems that are completely unrelated to the Banco Central, the Federal Reserve of the United States. Like instead of all of that stuff, we are just going to rely on mathematics and we're going to rely on electricity, and that's it. That's basically the idea with Bitcoin.
Okay, let's just give some people a little quick background on what you're talking about with hyperinflation. When the dollar was taken off the gold reserve, it basically just converted it was backed by trust. It was backed by, we'll be okay, just believe in us. And it's shown that over time, in history, not just the US, but in history, countries that have printed their own money without debasing their own currency, it's never ended any other way except hyperinflation.
Yes.
When I look at the US now, I'm not a financial expert, but when I look at the US now, I think all the signs point to this should have been dead already. Why is it still being propped up? Is it a DNR, do not resell? I mean, so why is it being propped up? What's keeping it alive artificially?
I mean, so if you look at the history of of society, really, like every 100 years or so, our idea of a global reserve currency, parang the currency that kind of the world uses, that changes every 100 years. So before the U.S. dollar, it was the pound, the GBP, so the currency of the United Kingdom. Before that, it was Spanish lira. Before that, it was like other stuff. The Spanish peseta, I should say. And like what's happened now is that now we're looking at the dollar's about 100 years kind of run rate, and it's getting to the point where we're starting to see that it's really not working. Here's an interesting parang statistic for a lot of people. No? Maybe they didn't know this. About 25% of all of the US dollars that have ever been circulated in the entire world, they were created last year. They just inflated the supply of the US dollar globally by 25%. And that was supposed to be okay for some reason. Like, we were just supposed to accept that. Now, obviously, they said it in the guise of we are going to try to help, kind of the economy get back on its feet because of COVID. But you can't just keep adding more dollars to an economy that is failing. I mean, even if you don't know stuff about economics, that sounds wrong on the face of it. How can you just invent extra dollars whenever you need it? It doesn't work that way, no? And that's one of the main reasons why so many, investors, so many companies are starting to move some of their savings into Bitcoin over this last year, because they realize that this is such a massive problem and everyone is going to pay for it at some point, not figuratively, literally. So yeah, that's what we're trying to work around with the Bitcoin solution.
I love the baseball card analogy that they use for that. They say, well, I mean, even if you don't understand anything about finance, which I, up until a couple of months ago, didn't, and I'm not saying I do now, but I understand more than I did 2 months ago. The baseball analogy is that if you were told that you have a Babe Ruth card, one of a kind, it's worth $1 million because it's one of a kind, but then they just made another one, it stands to reason that's going to go to half of its value. And if they make another one, then it's going to go to a third of its value, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you don't even need to understand money to know that what Luis has just pointed out is fundamentally wrong. So why do you think they're not collapsed yet? Is it because it's a global reserve and the world knows that if this was Venezuela, they already had their time, right? With Nigeria, Zimbabwe, all of these other countries that have experienced hyperinflation went down because they were independent. I mean, they were not a global reserve. Is that the reason why it's still being propped up artificially? Is that we don't know what we're doing? We're living in this state where we're like, wait, if it's like Jenga, if we pull out, I want to pull my money out, but the whole thing might come down.
Yeah, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Because the US dollar is basically how the world's debt is currently denominated. And because of that, it makes it very hard to just remove the US dollar from where it's at. You can't just do that. And because of this, we're kind of in this weird state where we're kind of stuck trying to fix this thing we're basically trying to fix the airplane while it's in the air. And I don't think that works, generally speaking. I'm pretty sure that doesn't work for airplanes. I don't think it's going to work for the US dollar long term either. And what's going to happen is more and more people are going to start to bail out, just to keep pushing the airplane analogy, and Bitcoin is the parachute for just to really push that analogy to the point where it's actually a little silly now. But yes, parang you're gonna see more and more people opting out of this system, and they're gonna have different ways of doing it. Some people are gonna use alternative investments like gold that's been around for literally 6,000 years. And there's going to be others who are going to choose Bitcoin over gold, and there's going to be others that choose other cryptocurrencies over Bitcoin. But the idea is that more and more people are going to get out of these traditional vehicles, these the US dollar, the Chinese yuan, whatever it is, and they're going to start to put their money, their wealth elsewhere. And we're already seeing it. We've been seeing it for the last year.
Yes, we have been doing it, and then that's the rabbit hole I'm down right now, because I can't understand how this is just being propped up and kept up. Okay, let's move from the U.S. to here, because there was that old saying about when the U.S. sneezes, the rest of the world catches a cold. Are we experiencing it here yet? Are we starting to experience that hyperinflation or the beginnings of hyperinflation? And how tethered are we to the U.S. economy and dollar?
Yeah, so at the moment, we've got other market forces that are kind of pulling the peso in a different direction. No? So if you actually look at the chart of US dollar to Philippine peso, the peso has actually gotten a little stronger against the dollar. Like there was a time when we were over 50 pesos to a dollar, right? We're not there right now. We're actually closer to 48.50, 48.90, that kind of range. The reason for that is that there's something else going on with our own economy. People are not buying dollars here, for example, because they don't need to buy stuff from overseas because businesses are not doing so well. We're not importing stuff. There's a whole bunch of other reasons for that. But I think long term, what you will see, and the Banco Central already kind of talked about this a couple of weeks back. They said that we were definitely going to hit like 5% inflation this year based on their forecast. That's not good. It literally means that your 100 pesos that you saved by the end of this year, by next year, it's only going to buy 95 pesos worth of stuff. That's what inflation means when we say that it's like 5% rate for a given year. That means you're only going to get 95 pesos worth of stuff for every 100 pesos that you have. And that's not great news for anyone, right? And that is a sign of a really ailing economy.
It is, and it's a genuine worry, which is why in times like this, people tend to, I think they call it's a Grisham's law, right? Where bad money drives good money into hiding.
Yes.
So when you feel that there's about to be some kind of a collapse, what is good money is gold, real estate, I guess silver, certain other commodities, etc. And people hide that because if they're hyperinflating, that money is not worth the paper it's printed on, type of thing. So this is basically where Bitcoin comes in. We had a question here, which is a very common question from people who are nothing to do with the space. How are we sure that cryptocurrency won't collapse?
Yeah. So the first thing I will always say to people who ask these types of questions is that when we talk about cryptocurrencies in general, there are many, many, many cryptocurrencies in that umbrella. There's literally 10,000 of them. Bitcoin is only one of those cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin accounts for about 45% of the total pie, so it's a very large percent of it. But let's not it's probably best not to think about all cryptocurrencies as if they're the same thing, just because it's it's different technologies, different policies, all of that stuff. Now with Bitcoin specifically, how do we know that it's not going to collapse? Well, we only have about 11 years of history to look back on. Now in technology terms, 11 years worth of history is pretty good. Like, 11 years, an 11-year tech company, that's a very good, solid company, right? In monetary terms, 11 years is quite short because, parang the time frames where we look at our monetary systems is much longer than 10 or 11 years. We're looking at, like, gold was around 6,000 years ago. We've been using that for a really long time. So I think the first thing I will say is that although we've got 11 years of track record with Bitcoin, none of this stuff is 100% sure. And that's why you need to understand that when you make an investment into Bitcoin specifically or cryptocurrencies in general, you have to understand that there's always going to be some percentage of risk there, and you have to kind of think about it that way. Na, parang there's a small chance that maybe Bitcoin, there will be some crazy bug 100 years from now that will, cause some kind of issue with Bitcoin. We don't know, right? But we have a very, very active community, some of the smartest people in the world who are constantly looking out for this stuff. So they are doing the equivalent of fixing that airplane while it's in flight. And we've managed to do it, with a 100% spotless record for the last 11 years. Bitcoin has never been hacked. It's never been, every issue that it's kind of bumped up against has always been resolved in a way that has made it stronger. And that's what I've got. That's what I can say to anyone who's asking. It's not a simple answer, but I guess I'm not really a fan of the short answer for stuff like this. You do have to kind of give it a little bit more detail just to make sure everyone kind of understands what's happening.
And I think the mere fact that, like you said, it's withstood every attack, and these are not small attacks. These are government attacks. These are industry attacks, institutional attacks, and it doesn't even have its own voice, and yet it survives. It's a decentralized, no human in there, no authority in there, and yet somehow, like you said, it keeps getting stronger and stronger. Let's just wrap up this crypto or the Bitcoin part first before we end with the NFT by asking, when they say, okay, it's the safest place to store it. How safe is a hard wallet? Because this is another question I get asked a lot. It's like, wait, hang on a second. You're saying Bitcoin is super safe because it's got no institutions and centralized, etc. But what happens if the hard drive fails? What happens is that possible? You have a backup of that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Bitcoin is just data, right? And all of the rules for backing up stuff, for securing stuff, it kind of works the same way. Your Bitcoin is technically not even, if you want to be very, very technical about it, your Bitcoin is not actually sitting in your wallet app. It's actually sitting in 300,000 different servers all across the world because they're all mirroring the information of your account balance. And that's kind of why it's protected. Like, in order to kind of take down the Bitcoin network, you'd have to attack so many different computers all at the same time. It's such an interesting thought experiment type of phenomenon that we actually have a word for it. We call it a 51% attack. You would have to attack 51% of the Bitcoin network in order to, take anyone's money, no matter what the size of that person's wallet was. And 51% is more computing power than the world currently has. So it's actually quite interesting to see how far we've gone in terms of securing this network. I would say that I don't think we've ever designed a technology that was more secure than Bitcoin, which is probably the reason why it requires so much electricity. But at the same time, what is the value of securing the world's wealth? I would say that's a very high priority for a lot of people. So that's kind of why it's like that.
A lot of people miss that point too, that they see it as a waste of energy. They go, oh, I heard it uses the same power as New Zealand or Sweden or another country, and these are very repeatable quotes because it's a nugget of information that you can share in a bar or wherever you're allowed to go these days, and that spreads, right?
Yeah.
And
sure.
Let's end with the energy thing. I know I said last question last time, but let's end with the energy thing on Bitcoin. About the energy thing, so what are some of the real misconceptions that you want to clear up? I know that when they say it's dirty, I know when they say it uses too much energy, but then we've never measured what the banking system uses, right? We've never been able to figure out how much energy does it turn on all the lights, marketing departments, all of the other things, the air conditioners. That's not even before they turn on their banking equipment. Just the storefronts alone would probably use 10 times more than Bitcoin. So what's your final say for people who are worried about the energy use of Bitcoin?
So there's a couple of ways to address this, and I think the industry itself is trying to figure out exactly how to say this in exactly that bite-sized way that you were describing, where it can be a one-sentence description of how we're addressing it. I don't think there is a one-sentence description because the Bitcoin industry itself is very, very decentralized. People aren't talking about how they are maintaining their servers. There's no agreement on what the correct way to do that is. The one thing I can tell you is that the current cheapest way to power a Bitcoin server is through hydroelectric. It's not through the more traditional parang coal-powered power plants, which are very, kind of their carbon footprint is basically through the roof, no? But hydroelectric is not. I mean, that's just using, physics to kind of turn those turbines. So that's actually a very sustainable and clean way to create, to secure the Bitcoin network. But like I said, because these guys, they're all kind of different, separate entities. They're not all talking. They don't have to talk to each other. They don't have to agree on what to use. It becomes quite hard to tell exactly what percentage of the cryptocurrency networks are powered by hydroelectric, what percentage are powered by geothermal. That's another very safe and clean type of energy. And then what percentage are powered by coal, which is kind of the more traditional, the very dirty kind. I think that what they're trying to do right now is figure out exactly what those numbers look like and then maybe broadcast them to the world. Because I think that actually this narrative of Bitcoin being dirty or bad for the environment, it kind of misses the point, but at the same time, you gotta address it head on. You can't argue in a different direction. You have to actually say, no, it's not. These are the energy sources that we're currently using. That data does not currently exist because no one has actually put it all together. And that's why it's such an important thing to be discussing in the Bitcoin community right now.
I like how Michael Saylor addresses this. He comes up with he says it's actually creating political capital because these naturally go in search for the cleanest, most renewable, and cheapest forms of energy, regardless of geographical position or jurisdiction. And I think that makes a lot of sense to me because organically, if you're a businessman and you're having a mining pool or you run that, your biggest expense is electricity, obviously, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So whether you're evil or good, it doesn't matter. Your natural tendency is to look for cheaper, sustainable electricity. Your character won't even come into it, is what I'm saying.
Right.
There's just a natural financial incentive to search for cleaner power, cheaper power, and a jurisdiction that allows all of this. And because you're not actually wired into that geo position, you can just continue to move. Of course, it's going to cost you to move your equipment, but theoretically, you can continue to move like the Chinese, the ones that moved to Texas. I mean, how many miners have moved out of China and are now doing solar?
Tons of mining equipment that they moved to Texas of all places. I guess they found cheap electricity there. I'm not really sure actually.
They found the governor. They found the governor. They got a lot of political support there. They've also found that they've got tons of solar and wind energy in land that's practically useless for almost anything else.
Right.
So this is another thing that Saylor talks about. He says you can actually tap into trapped energy. You can tap into all sorts of energy that would have no use on the grid. This is energy that would just evaporate. But with Bitcoin, because of its demands, can actually harness that.
Yeah,
I could spend all day and night talking about this. I can talk under wet cement about this topic already. But I want to end with something super important, which I did tease everybody about earlier, when I wanted you to explain what on earth an NFT is and how it can help common Joes like people like me and anyone else in the comments box. Can you start by giving us a human explanation of what NFT is? And keep it simple.
No, so this is my favorite topic right now because it's parang a subset of the whole cryptocurrency space, no? But it's actually a very important little section of it. So I'm not gonna say what the NFT acronym actually means. It's just confusing. The most important part of it is the word token. The T means token. So what is the token part? What does that even mean? So the token is, just imagine in your head a digital certificate of ownership, right? And that is all that you have to kind of bear in mind here. So okay, it's a digital certificate of ownership. Ownership in what? Well, the answer is basically anything. It can be a piece of land. It can be a piece of music. It can be digital art, which is kind of our specialization. Parang what we've found very recently is that a lot of people are actually interested in owning digital art. It's just that they've never been able to prove that when they have paid for a piece of digital art, that this is the actual edition that was endorsed by the artist, that was created by the artist, and now it's been transferred to them. That was always what was missing kasi with digital art. Because like me. So I draw on Photoshop, I draw on Clip Studio, whatever the apps that I'm using are. Um, when I'm done, I have a JPEG, and that is a file that everyone can Control C, Control V to make infinite number of copies for. But I can make an NFT that actually says that it's this one particular version of the file that is actually the official version from Luis, from the artist, and now maybe because James really liked it, James is going to pay Luis some small amount of money, just a small amount, not a lot. You don't have to worry about that. And now the token, the digital certificate of ownership, has moved from my wallet to James's wallet. Now he owns the artwork. What can James do with it now that he owns it? Well, the most important thing is that he can resell it. So so I'll just put some numbers on there, right? So let's say that you paid $100 for a piece of my work or one of my work, right? And so now it's with you, and then let's say you resold it. Let's say you resold it for $500. So a couple of things have happened there. First is you've made 5 times your money, right? So congratulations. And then secondly, I will actually make 10% of the sale price. I'll make it back as like a royalty. So I'll make an additional $50 from your resale. Add that onto the $100 I already made. Now it's $150. I've earned a little bit more, right? Every time the art gets moved to a new buyer, a new owner, I get a small 10% cut on that. Which means that, for artists, it's pretty good, man, because we've never had a way to do automatic royalties before. That's actually really hard to pull off. Even in the traditional art world, if I sell a painting, like an oil on canvas, if it's with someone else now, and then they sell it to someone else, I have no idea what's happened there. I have no idea how much it was sold for. With NFTs, because all of that stuff is revealed on the blockchain. Everyone knows how much it went for. Everyone knows who owns it now. And because of that, the cut for the artist can be automated also. So it's such a powerful kind of new technology, and that's kind of why the world is so interested in it right now. And I was kind of fortunate to be able to, view this from its infancy. Kind of, I got into it very early in 2017. I'm pretty sure I was one of the first Filipinos to ever try it. Actually, I'm pretty sure I'm the first Filipino to ever try it, because even around the world at the time, no one even knew what it was. It was just one of those things that seemed like it was a fun, interesting application of crypto technology, and I happened to be an art guy, so it just it was natural. It was a natural area for me to focus.
Did I get that right? You sold your first piece for $50, right?
Yeah.
Is
It
that
was
correct?
just small amounts. I mean, back then, no one really knew how valuable this stuff was going to be. To me, it was more like, I'd already made this drawing a couple months ago. I'd never bothered to sell it because, I was making doodles because it was funny. It made my friends on Facebook laugh. That was basically the only reason why I was doing any of that stuff. And then, an NFT, a very, very young NFT startup at the time reached out to me and said, "Hey, can we use some of your artwork to sell as part of our collection?" So I was like, "Sure, why not? I mean, I never made any money from it. Maybe there's a chance that I'll make something from this, right?" So yeah, back then we were talking $25, $30, $50. Those were the kind of price ranges that people were talking about. I mean, now it's obviously many, many multiples of that. And I am both embarrassed and kind of proud that I sold for so cheap. So because I got to see it from, basically when the point was it was nothing back then.
So the guy that bought it though, he sold it for like $1,000, right?
Yes. So he did 20 times on his investment, which
And
I
then
was also very happy with. Yeah.
you would be happy for 2 reasons, because your customer, your client who bought your piece made 20x, but you made more in commission from him than you did selling it in the first place, right? You made $100.
Yeah.
And then whoever sells that, so in perpetuity, I mean, your grandkids could be earning off Luis Buenaventura works. If you end up being super duper famous in the art world, they could live off these royalties, right?
Yes. Yeah.
What
And,
else can you do aside from art?
Well, okay, so one of the things we're trying to experiment with a lot now is basically basically any content creator can do something in NFTs right now, and we've seen that all across the board. No, we've seen artists, musicians, celebrities do it. Like, Eminem did a NFT drop. Paris Hilton did one. Kings of Leon did one. So these are kind of celebrities and musicians, no? And here in the Philippines, we've not seen that quite yet, no? I think that a lot of celebrities are starting to look at it for the first time, but they're not quite sure how to navigate it. And if you're one of those celebrities, please give me a call. I might have some ideas for you. But generally speaking, what's happening right now is that practically everyone is thinking about what they could possibly do in this new space, because there's so much potential here. Because like we're like the content creators of the world, kind of like yourself. I mean, you've been doing this for long enough that you know very well that monetization. Your channels are limited, right? For monetization, you have to do it very, very cleverly. With NFTs, kasi, you can do it directly. Just earn from the content itself, right? And that's kind of the biggest change in mindset that NFTs have allowed for.
Wow, it is incredibly fascinating. We've run out of time again. I know I'm going to get a lot of crap from people going, "Come on, you got to get them in earlier." We tried. Okay.
Yeah.
We have also, just before we go, this is Luis's piece that he has just put on Binance Smart Chain NFT, which is a group. This is the biggest exchange in the world, if I'm not mistaken. Is it?
It is. Yes.
Binance?
It is. Yep.
So Binance is the biggest exchange in the world, and they now have launched their NFT portal. Is that what you call it?
Yep.
I don't want to sound too stupid. Everything's new, and their new portal. And you were asked to launch this piece as part of the celebration of the launcher, and
Right.
it's already got, what is it, 6,600
Yeah.
BUSD,
that is-
which is the equivalent of $1 each, right? So that's $6,000
Yeah.
plus dollars, right?
Yeah,
Same
yeah,
as
yeah, it's in the 300,000 peso range. Yeah. So this is a very personal piece to me, mostly because I spent so much time on it. I've never worked on something so long. This was like 100 days of work for me and my collaborator. He's a musician, Ian Magbanwa. So if you actually go to that page that you're sharing over there and you turn up the audio, it's got some pretty cool music that goes with this piece. And kind of this is what I was saying earlier, that it allows for certain ideas in art that was kind of hard to pull off, because like Ian and I kind of agreed that we were going to do something ambitious because we knew that there was a strong potential to monetize this stuff directly. So we didn't mind working on something for 3.5 months in order to create something. It says something that it's now possible for artists. I mean, neither Ian and I are full-time artists. We've both got day jobs, but we can do this sort of thing and know that we'll be able to make some money back from it to basically to warrant all of the time and energy that we spend on it. And that's a powerful thing. You don't have to be a starving artist anymore, which is probably the most powerful thing about NFTs. The fact that you don't have to be a starving artist anymore in, we're not exactly in the best country in the world when it comes to, selling your art globally, right? I mean, it's leveled the playing field in a way that is just really, really powerful.
It is. So much potential. We've just scraped the tip of the iceberg. Before I let you go, NFTs, is it like you mentioned something about title deeds, and I see a huge market there, right, for title deeds. But can you just do your own title deed now? Will it be recognized, or do you have to wait for a government program to say, okay, we're going onto the blockchain and we will create NFTs?
Yeah, so that's what was missing from... So back in the 2017, 2018 days, there were lots of crypto projects that were doing exactly what you're describing. So real estate, titles, deeds on the blockchain. That's what they were trying to do. And the problem kasi with that particular business is that you have to get the government to support it. If you don't get the government to support it, it's basically useless, because it's not as if, no one is going to enforce a contract just because it says so on the Ethereum blockchain. If the government doesn't recognize it, then it's basically useless. Just from a taxation purpose, it's already kind of useless, right? So the nice thing about the NFT art space is that it completely goes in a different direction. Like, forget the big stuff for now. I mean, content creation is big for some people. I mean, it's a big part of what I do. It's a big part of what you do. But, it's not real estate. It's not trying to solve the property market. So we were able to kind of, solve our own little problem, and in a way that apparently affected so many artists around the world. So, that's why it's such a fast growing industry. It solved a real problem. It did it in a way that was fairly straightforward. Obviously the artist has to learn a little bit about cryptocurrency, which is not that hard naman. That's like, again, like a few hours worth of research and homework. But it does something with the mindset that we used to have. It's actually completely turning it on its head. And now we can kind of re-look at everything else, no? Maybe we will look at the real estate thing again in a couple of years, maybe when the government is ready. But I have a feeling that not quite there yet, but we'll see.
I'll go back to that comment. I just want to show, because I think Luis thinks I'm making this stuff up. They're like, here, these are the kind of comments we're getting, right? Watch here for the raffle. We have almost 1,300 people tuned in now. And you know what? It hasn't budged. Like normally by about 5:45, 5:50, if the raffle's not on, I'm getting like hate. I'm getting like daggers thrown at me. Like, oh, and I'm getting messages like this going, well, it's okay. It's okay. The discussion's more interesting, but we really do have to leave it there. Gosh, there's just so many questions. I really gotta stop. I have to stop. I gotta train myself to stop. Luis, I'll stop if you promise to come back on the show and we can continue this discussion again. In fact, I've even explored offline with Luis about maybe doing some kind of, if we can work out something where we can just do a daily brief. Because what I like about the way you talk about crypto, and this means a lot to me, is you're not trying to sell people on it. You are a founder of one of the exchanges, and yet you don't talk about your exchange because you're just trying to educate people. You're just trying to give them the news of the day and your take on it. But it's not buy this coin, buy that coin. This is going to make you rich. And that's what I want to avoid. I just made a post before the show, maybe a couple hours before the show, because of that scammer that put my thing up and used my face, my name, and everything. Obviously, I've been talking about Bitcoin a bit, and they're writing off that and saying, oh, look, I'm James Deacon. I'll send you send me your Bitcoin, whatever. I have had 3 offers for endorsements this week alone for exchanges and wallets. And I've had to turn down all 3, and it hurts like hell. It really does, because it's something I believe in. And one of the products that I've been offered to endorse, I actually use. And I still said no, not because I don't believe in the product, not because I don't believe in the people, but because I'm very, very careful about the space. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't want to take anyone down a path because I have a different risk appetite to everyone. Everyone has this different risk appetite. And I don't want to get into a space where somebody puts their life savings based on a feeling. And yeah. So sure. If we continue this, we'll just do it responsibly. We'll share the news. We'll talk about the news. And then you have to do your own research like everything else. Fascinating space, plenty of potential. There are a few pitfalls. Don't go in stupid. Be responsible. Luis, before I let you go, I love your newsletter. So can you tell people how they can keep up to date with what you do? I really highly recommend that you subscribe to his newsletter. I only subscribe to, I think, 2 newsletters everywhere in the world, and Luis is one of them.
Thank you. Thanks so much. So
I mean, it's easy to read, man. It's easy to read. I don't feel like I'm being sold or scammed or anything. It's great.
Thank you. So guys, if you're interested in learning more about this stuff, I do a daily newsletter. It's called Crypto Day. It's cryptoday.substack.com. I think the URL is right up there. I do it Mondays through Fridays. It kills me to do it because there's actually quite a lot of news and research to kind of go through in order to put it out at a certain time every morning. But it always makes you feel better when people say that they found it very useful, like James just did, because it's a motivator, right? This is not one of the pieces of content that I will ever try to make money from. I think that's kind of what makes it more pure for me. If I don't make money from it, I never feel like I have to say a certain thing. I can say exactly what I want, right? And what I believe in. This cap that I'm wearing, it actually says, if you can see, oh sorry, there you go. Don't trust, verify. And that is the motto of a lot of crypto people, because this is not an industry for just trusting blindly guys on the internet talking on a live stream, right? I mean, do your own research, do your homework, find out for yourself if you can verify the things that we're talking about. And that is the way to protect yourself in this space. There's a lot of stuff going on. My job is to try to give you as much information as you can. as I can, and yeah, and then the decision is still yours, right? And that's all we can really hope for here. I've gotten pretty lucky with some of the decisions I've made, so I think that part of the advocacy is to try to get people to the point where they can make as informed a decision as they possibly can about all this.
Well, you have gotten pretty lucky. You had made some good decisions. This is probably the 7th time I've said last question, but what was the worst one you made? What was the worst? Come on, make us feel bad. Make us feel good, naman, that Luis makes mistakes sometimes. What was the worst investment
no, this was
mistake
an
you
easy
made?
one. This is super easy. I bought Bitcoin at $200. I resold it at $500. There you go.
But you still have some, right?
I mean, yeah, I still have some naman, but like.
But did you sell all your 200s, or you kept some of the 200s?
Well, because so my thing kasi, and sorry, this is the part where the show just gets long forever. No? The problem kasi is that when you're like me, you believe in it so much that you just buy with every peso that you have. Which is kind of a very deeply irresponsible way to manage your finances. And
that's why we say
I
don't
never
listen
advocate. Right, don't listen to
No,
me
no,
when it
yeah.
comes to the way I got into this stuff, because I just kept buying. And I was buying it as the price was going up, I was buying it as the price was going down. So on average, I'm not that different. Like my cost average is not actually that different from a lot of other people who just got in like maybe a year ago or whatever, because I was buying while it was going up also. Right? Now, generally speaking, that's still a better, still a better strategy than trying to time the market, because you basically have to have perfect timing. Like, people will say buy the dip, sell at the peak, rinse and repeat. Dude, you know how hard it is to do that? Like, no one has ever, like, people are professionals, they can't do that consistently. So the thing that we've found that works best is you just cost average. You buy a little bit every month. And I've been doing that for basically 7 years. So, my cost average is probably not as great as you would think, just because I was buying from like $180, $200 or whatever. But it's made enough money for me that I'm not particularly worried about how deep this particular dip might go. I'm hoping it's not $20,000, but whatever. We'll see. Knock on wood. Knock on wood.
X, you gotta pull me away. Physically pull me away. Physically grab me away. Luis, really gotta go.
It's all right. I realize that I might be more interesting than a pineapple. I'm happy with that. I'm happy.
Have you noticed the pineapple comments? Yeah, because we're raffling off a pizza oven, and but yeah. Luis, thanks very much for your time. Really, really, really appreciate it. See, Luis, part 2, please. Michael says, these are genuine. It was a fascinating discussion. That's all I can say. And it's just the beginning. I want to take this further, but for now, we'll leave it there. Surf's up in La Union, so I'm sure you're probably having a whiskey or a beer or something, and then you're probably going to jump on your surfboard and live the life. So we'll talk to you soon. Take care. I look forward to your newsletter.
Thanks so much, guys. Cheers, everyone.
And don't forget to catch Luis's NFT on the Binance NFT platform, which is right now. You can make a bid, or you can just look at it and learn about it. I highly suggest that you do subscribe to his newsletter. Like I said, I really mean it. There's like 2. I hate newsletters. I'm allergic to them. But he just puts it in a way that really makes a lot of sense. He's never selling me anything. He's just keeping me up to date. But then he's also putting in his take on the news of the day, and it just gives me depth and stuff. Very fast, very easy to read. So, you're not going to get stuck in there. You just get the full picture. Wow. All right. 1,400 people tuned in, and you've been very patient. So I'm going to make it worth your while. All right. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, you've waited long enough. It is raffle time. Woo! Rocket the angry raffle dog. Because Rocket had a haircut, and Rocket has he had a little too much clipped off the top here, and his ears are a little long. Yeah, poor Rocket's having a bad hair day. But not too bad a hair day that he can't draw the raffle out, right, Rocket? Even though he's, look at him. Norman has such a puffy little head, but the poor guy got sort of. They did a number, what? Number 2? What was the number?
That's 13.
13. They just unlucky 13 for Rocket. All right. So I played that music, didn't I?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, I didn't hear it because. All right, Rocket. First, he was so angry. Did you see him? Oh, I thought he was going to bite the microphone. All right. Final chance to join. Here we go, Rocket. 1, 2, 3. Pizza oven. Chauncey Miranda. Hope you're here, Chauncey Miranda. Wow, congratulations, man. You are so lucky. So many people have been dying for this thing. They've been like private messaging me. Please, I want to win this. There have been pizza shops, right? Have been messaging me. I won in Iloilo also message. They said they do this really nice Napolitana pizza, and they really wanted that. But we have to be fair. That's the raffle. It's like the blockchain. It just has to be verified. Don't trust, verify. Right, Rocket? Don't trust, verified. So that's our winner. We went super overtime today, but thank you so much for staying with us. Wow, it didn't just sort of not drop, it grew. We're up to 1,472 people still here, and we're 16 minutes overtime. But wow, I hope you got something out of it today. Today was a very interesting day. I know we just scraped the tip of the iceberg there, but there is just so much to learn about this new space. Again, at the risk of repeating myself, I'm not trying to sell anybody on any crypto, right? I don't want that responsibility. That's why I have sadly had to not be able to take these endorsements or ambassadorships or even engagements, because I just want to keep it pure. I want to keep it I don't want to be that person that gets you all excited about it. It's just too sensitive a space for me. I believe in it. And like Louis said, the same thing. That's why I like him. That's why I brought him on the show, because he's got the same type of attitude. He's the type of person that says, he knows he's erratic and he's okay with that risk appetite, but he doesn't want to wear the risk. What he can't take a risk with is other people sharing the same appetite, and that's where I'm coming from. Like I'm a little nervous, probably putting maybe a little bit more than I should. Depends, right? Who you ask, but I'm comfortable with it because I believe in what I'm doing. And what I'm doing here is not trying to make money. I'm not going to lie. I want to, but it's not the primary goal. The primary goal is to be part of something massive and something new, a disruption that will just be a great equalizer for human beings, that will just be able to give people at least an equal starting point. That's all Bitcoin will really do, is give people an equal starting point by allowing your personal stored energy, which is money, that's your personal value, stored in something. We want that to be just secure and safe, decentralized and independent, that you can take personal custody of. Because if you can start from that pure base where your money is your money and it's not controlled by a centralized organization, they cannot get in there, they cannot inflate it, they cannot manipulate it, then from that point forward, everything becomes, you can imagine scaling up from that, because that's pure. Everyone that wants your money has to sell themselves to you each and every time. So they're vying for that money, not because they're entitled to it or they created the system where they can just take it. Because that's what's happening now around the world, is there are systems out there that have just, we don't even know why these fees are there anymore. We don't know why they print money the way they print money and why it's all being deflated like this and being debased, because they're doing it behind closed doors and we're the ones who have to pay for that in the end. So that's why I'm into it. I want to be part of this massive disruption. I want to be part of something, a solution. And hey, if we can make money out of it, that's fantastic. As long as I don't lose the shirt off my back, I'll be happy. But always be responsible, guys. Always be responsible. It is a volatile place for a reason. There's plenty of money to be made, plenty of money to be lost. So trust yourself. don't go on YouTube and trust every influencer or Facebook, myself included. It's not that you can't trust me. It's just I don't know what I'm talking about, and I don't know your risk appetite, and that's what I don't want to do. All right, I think I've pretty much covered everything there. I think you got the drift. Pineapples, no pineapples. We've done that. I've talked too much. I'm going to go. I'll see you next week. Take care. Be kind. Be nice. And always sanitize Tito Clockers. Bye.
Fancy meeting you in my internet. Couldn't help but notice your smile, while everybody else around us is surfing about. Can we just stop and chat a while? Get away from these gray and boring, lonesome days of our quarantine. Early yet to say what lies ahead. It's just the first day of the rest of our lives. Love could be waiting at the end of this quarantine. Let's stop and talk a while. Let's stop